mentioned, we are going over the clean. More specific, we are going over, oh no, where'd it go? Give me a second here. We're going over the turnover of the clean, kind of like what we did with the snatch, right? Tuesday, we talked about the turnover of the snatch. So we are going over the turnover of the clean, but more specifically, how to have a smooth, how to meet and receive the barbell, right? I think one of the biggest problems we see for in weightlifting on the platforms, we see a barbell crashing onto the front rack, probably because it's really heavy and we're just a little too desperate to make the lift. So we drive so hard, dive down too quickly, and we end up missing the barbell. So we've gone down too far and the barbell's up in the air and then it comes down to us and then it crashes into the front rack. You have to have really, that's really difficult to recover from. In CrossFit, specifically in the WODs, the weight is never heavy enough. How it's oftentimes too light. So what we see, what I see, is an over pulling. So you guys are still nice and tall, right? But then you over pull because it's so light and you're exhausted and you're trying to get these reps in that you over pull it and then it comes crashing onto you. So we have the inverse on CrossFit. You guys over pull and you stand too high. And weightlifting on the platforms, we not that we over pull, but we just dive down too quickly. We want to make that lift, so we're a little desperate for it. So let's get into this. I have for you, how many slides do I have? 8 slides. You guys see that, yeah? Give me thumb. Okay, cool. So let's. I'm gonna blank out of the screen. I'm just gonna talk now. So you're gonna get a full on. There we go. So here's the clean, specifically meeting and receiving the barbell, right? Because there are many facets of the clean. I want to talk about specifically how do you turn the elbows around and get the shoulders and the barbell to smoothly meet, because they should meet with very little crash, right? So let's take a look. Okay, so I noticed on the snatch, we all know how to snatch, we all know how to clean, but I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Toto Kitty, great weightlifter, and I really like how he breaks this down. So here is a general, it's about 3 minutes long. I'm gonna let you guys watch it, but I like how he puts his videos together. So this is a general overview of the clean. We're not gonna go into all of this. I just want you guys to kind of see what's going on, right? So here it is. Boom, standard clean. Now he's gonna break it down. Feet and shoulders, with shoulders underneath his feet, just about. It's different depending upon your height. There we go, arms are straight. He's in that starting position. Don't get too much into the degrees. Knees over toes, that is essential. Look at that back. You don't want to overdo that though. There shouldn't be an extreme curve. Take a look at this. Shoulders directly above the knees. Also notice that starting position, his shoulders are much higher than his hips. It's not a deadlift position. So this is a clean setup. Full contact with the floor, big toe, little toe, heels. Weight is probably more in the ankle. It is in the ankle. Bar touches the shins, sure, for the most part. First pull from the ground to the knees, that's the first pull. Look at that. Maintain that back position. Shoulders are still slightly out in front of the barbell. Still has full contact with the floor, absolutely. We are not on the toes at this point. He's into the second pull now. So once the barbell passes the knees, he's setting up for the second pull. And this is where the barbell gets its acceleration from. He's staying over the bar, shoulders over, shoulders over. He's pulling his shoulders back into the power position. This is full extension, boom, That's how the barbell gets its height. Now he's gonna start pulling. Barbell's going up, he pulls himself over, and he's gonna meet the barbell. This right here is what we're talking about. Boom, turns it over. Minimal bar crash. He pulls the shoulders to the barbell. Maintains that back position, absolutely. You need a tight posterior, midsection, all that needs to stay. Elbows up, nice and high as possible. Weight in the middle of the foot. Knees out, squeeze the glutes, bring the hips forward. Stand tall. Front rack position, elbows are up, pushed out to the sides, chest is up. He's even shrugging the shoulders up, right? You need a nice solid front rack. So let's take a look at that one more time. Specifically, no, don't pay attention to that. We'll get to that. Specifically this, I want to take a look at the turnover. So second, all right, here we go. Okay, here we go. Full extension. So look at this. After that full extension, he's gonna pull his shoulders down into the front rack. Right there. Take a look at that. Can you guys see that? Look how he keeps his shoulders high and he's pulling them down into the barbell. There's a small little space between him and the barbell. That's great considering, I mean, he can go much heavier than this. And I'm sure he can close that gap more. But you want that gap to be so small when you meet the barbell, because the bigger that gap is, the harder the barbell falls onto the shoulders. The heavier the barbell is, the more shaking you get, right? Because that's hard to recover from. And if it's if that gap is extremely wide, let's pretend that you're in the middle of a, let's say you're getting down into a front squat. Here, let me get rid of this real quick. Real quick. Okay, so I'm exaggerating this, but I want you guys to get the idea here. Can you imagine doing a front squat? Let's say you have no barbell. Let's say this is you right here, and you're set up for a front squat and have a barbell. And it's loaded with X amount of weight, and you're here, ready to receive it. I'm just gonna drop it on you, right? Can you imagine what that would feel like? That's what's happening in the clean when you don't meet the barbell. It comes onto you, hits you really hard, crushes you down. You're either gonna miss it out in front, you're either gonna get here, and then it dumps you forward because you don't have the strength to recover from that, or you're gonna secure the lift and it's gonna crush you down to the bottom. All of that is gonna go straight down into the spine. Then you're pinned to the bottom. And that's when you get people, if you're strong enough, you can bounce out of it and recover from that. Very difficult to recover from. So we're gonna talk about how to meet that barbell. First, what it is, what are some common errors, why it's occurring, and then how to practice and how to fix that. So let's go back to this little PowerPoint here. All right, here we go. All right, so that was a general overview. So what do I have here? A simple definition. A successful turnover is intentional, aggressive, and precise. Pretty simple, right? Straightforward. It's intentional because like all weightlifting movements, you have to be in it at all times. There should never be a moment where it's just occurring and you're blanking out. You should always have full control. So intentional meaning you're 100% in the zone and you have control of that barbell. Aggressive, because a turnover, like the snatch, remember we talked about the snatch and how quickly you need to pull yourself down. The same for the clean, right? That elbow turnaround needs to happen very quickly and precise. You got to know where the barbell's at all times. It's kind of goes back into that, what I mentioned with the intentional aspect, and that is that more specifically with the clean, wherever, because the clean can get really heavy, you have to meet the barbell wherever it's at, and that's precision, right? So if it's so heavy, you only got it to about hip high, then guess what? You need to get the shoulders all the way down there to rack it. If it's high, if it stays high in the air, because it's relatively light, then you need to stay high to receive it. So what is the turnover? Here's a general overview. Again, this is this can get deep, and there can be bullets upon bullets upon bullets. This is very general. So first, ensure the close proximity of the barbell to the shoulders. Elbows travel high and up to the sides as much as possible. We'll demo this. I'll go over this again. So now you're in this beautiful scarecrow position. Now you have to turn it over. So to turn over, aggressively retract the shoulder blades in the back, right? Pull back. Elbows are gonna whip around into the front rack position. Merge the barbell to the shoulders wherever it may be. I'll go over that again. That's really important in the clean. So wherever that barbell ends up after a full triple extension is where the shoulders need to get to. You complete the front rack position by bringing the elbows up high and to the sides as much as possible. That's relative to your range of motion in the shoulders. Some of us have great range of motion. Others are more restricted, and you can only get them so high. So even in the wrist too, right? That goes, the wrist is involved in that action. So as high, oh, look at this, as high up in the squat as possible. That's gonna help you meet the shoulders to the barbell. So like I was saying, I think you see it more so on the platforms, on weightlifters when it gets really, really heavy and they go down too much. If the barbell's high, you need to stay high. So I guess I'm kind of repeating myself, but it bears mentioning over and over and over. It's really important. And your feet should securely make contact with the floor at the same time you front rack it. That'll help you, again, stay tight. All of that should happen very quickly. I'll let you guys continue taking a few more notes. Looks like you guys are jotting some things down. Any questions while we're on this page? Go ahead, shoot them. Oh, you guys good? Sorry. Okay, so let's get into this common error, bar crashing. So I'll take a look at that. Hold on, I'll talk about that quote right now. So there are many common errors as to why the barbell and the shoulders are not there's not a smooth transition there. We're gonna go over probably the three most obvious, more common ones. So bar crashing, that quote, "Fix it," is by Hanan. For those of you that know Nan here in the gym, she's on the platforms. We have a t-shirt we need to make of her. We need to put that into production. She's very quotable. Anyways, so we make this joke in weightlifting that sometimes it's like, well, why am I doing this? I don't know why. You're doing it. Why don't you just stop doing it? So this is kind of the summation of that. Just fix it, right? It's obviously far more complicated than that, or can be complicated. So the bar's crashing for probably these three big reasons, at least these reasons that I see most occur in our gym. Indiscriminate movement. Where's the barbell relative to your shoulders? Meaning you've given a full aggressive triple extension and you're just diving down. You're not really thinking after that. You're hoping that you secure the front rack. You just blanked out. I also think it's like a deer in the headlights look, right? How many times have you seen someone where they give a really great extension and the barbell gets nice and high? They might even be in the perfect scarecrow position, getting ready to transfer that barbell into the front rack, but they just forget and they blank out. It falls right back down in front of them. You have to constantly be thinking, right, what's the next step? So after a triple extension, you need to think about, not even think, you should already be aware. Where's the barbell at? Oh, it only got belly button high. Well, guess what? I got to get all the way down there and rack it. So the other one is an inactive, unaggressive, slow turnover. Another common occurrence is the turnover is just a little too lax. It's very slow, lethargic, probably because the shoulder blades aren't retracting, right? And the delts aren't active either. So all this upper body is loose, and you might end up in this scarecrow position, but none of it's active. And you need the front shoulders and the back as well to contract, pull, and then you whip the elbows around into the front rack. And that has to happen quickly and aggressively. And then the third one is what I mentioned, what I see on the floor most often in our WODs, and that's because the barbell is really light. I mean, even for women, even for men, I mean, what's our heaviest weight for women we assign them? Maybe like 75, 85 pounds, maybe 95. And then men, the heaviest is like 135, 155. For a clean, those are really light weights, even if it is high volume. So what happens is you're so exhausted and you're just pulling. You're pulling. You're not really thinking about what's going on after. So I think, I keep repeating myself with this, but it's important that you know what's going on after that extension. So over pulling, lethargic turnover, and not knowing where your shoulders are at relative to the barbell. Fix it. So let's talk about 3 movements that we can use to practice to strengthen our our front rack, right? How do we turn it over? So here's a tall clean. This right here, this practice, this is how I write my set. So this X right here is either is the weight, whether it's PVC or empty barbell, or you start adding weight, that's up to you. So this is essentially say build for 4 sets of 3 reps. So I'm leaving this on here because I put this on here so that way when you guys revisit, if you revisit this or you're taking notes, remember that magic number in weightlifting for technique purposes is 3. It's the number that allows you to kind of stay fresh and not exhaust yourself and maintain form and really think about what you're doing. When you start to get into higher reps like 5, you're a little too exhausted and you're not really paying attention to what's going on. Or it's difficult to maintain form, especially as it gets heavier. So 4 sets of 3, building. Doesn't even need to be built. You could stay empty barbell here. Absolutely, right? We're trying to practice the front rack position, and if you feel that it's you can only maintain form with an empty barbell or a PVC, then keep it at that. There's no reason to add weight until you feel comfortable with the weight and you feel you deserve, right? You've achieved like the form. You got the form down, and you need a little more stimulus. So here's the tall clean. Let's take a look at it a few times. Let me move this out of the way. Here it is. Again. Oh no, why is it doing that? Let me go back. Oh, there it is. Happening very quick. So let's break this down real quick. Starting position, if you can see this, it's a little dark, right there. His arms are straight, elbows are turned out, shoulders are, we're kind of already in like, I don't even want to get into that. Let's just say the focus here is to pull yourself under the barbell and to pull it however high you need to, however high you can get it, and that depends on what's on the barbell, right? So if the heavier it is, the more difficult it is to get it higher. So this is really light for Mr. Everidge here. So he's getting it pretty high. He's getting it almost into the chest, and then he pulls the shoulders down by bending the knees, pulling himself down, and then he racks it. And notice, so I'm gonna play this again, and I want you to focus on how the barbell and the shoulders are meeting. And just that. Don't take a look at anything else right now. It's quick. Let's see if we can freeze it. Let's see if I can get it where it's right there. Look at that. So he met the barbell. He's writing it down. He's trying to, this is that precision part right here. He's writing it down into a front squat, and trying to absorb the weight of the barbell at the same time. And this needs to happen seamlessly. The barbell and the shoulders merge together. He gets those elbows around, nice and high, engages the midsection, and absorbs that weight down. So we'll be practicing this. One more time. So this movement is teaching you how to pull yourself underneath the barbell, and also specifically for our purposes, how to meet the barbell without it crashing. So our next movement, a clean from the power position. We're gonna do the same thing, 4 sets of 3. Let's watch this. Similar, he's pulling himself, now with the assistance of the legs. He's driving with the legs, pulling himself, but as the barbell travels up, he's pulling himself down, seamlessly, smoothly meets the barbell to the shoulders and rides it down. One more time, a few times. Get into the habit of watching people who lift well. Not only is this not only do you need to really be in tune with your body and have an idea of what it is you're trying to do with the barbell and how your body should move, but it also, there's a visual aspect to this, right? The more you watch people who lift well, the more you connect the dots. And suddenly all those cues that us, the coaches, scream at you make more sense when we tell you to do X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's talk about this real quick. Right here, that is the power position. So not a hang position. Notice the shoulders are in line with the hips. If we were doing a hang, he would send his shoulders back. And then he would send his hips back and the shoulders would come over the barbell. We are going one step further. He's now in the power position. So now the ankles, the knees, the hips are gonna lock out. Barbell is gonna travel up. He's gonna get into that nice scarecrow position, right? Elbows high into the sides. So as soon as he drives with the legs, he starts pulling, pull, 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 pull. And he's gonna pull the shoulders down into that front rack, smoothly turn it over and ride it down. So this is the power position, not a hang. Again, power position, drive, pull, receive. One more time, one more time. Oh, no, here we go. Power position, drive, pull, receive, in that order. You gotta drive first. We want the legs to do their part. All right, last movement. Oh, go ahead. Was there a question?
Yeah, is he starting from the floor or from the hip area?
From the hip area. So clean from the power position. So he's picking it up off the floor because he needs to get the barbell to the power position. See? And then he kind of, see how he pauses there? He's getting himself situated. And then he goes down into that power position. That is where he is going to do this clean from. Yeah?
Okay, thanks.
Cool. Yeah, of course. Okay. A muscle clean. Okay, I was a little hesitant to put a muscle clean into this mix, but we do them in the gym every so often, especially on the platforms, right? Weightlifters, we muscle clean and muscle snatch pretty often. On the floor, every so often, but I see it. So let's, for those of you that are in class, let's talk about how you do it the right way. There's mixed results on the floor, and that's difficult, right? Because there's only one coach, and there's like 15 to 20 of you guys on the floor, and it's difficult to get eyes on everyone. So again, 4 sets of 3, whether it's empty barbell, get the form down absolutely before you start adding weight to this one. Muscle clean, actually any of these movements, but more so you see it more so in the muscle clean. People are too quick to add weight to it, and you're only creating more bad habits. So let's take a look at this movement. Cool, one more time and then we'll talk about it. All right, so this one does start from the floor. The muscle clean starts from the floor. We're gonna focus on, well, you're hitting your positions absolutely on the way up. You get into that power position that you just saw in the other movement, the clean from a power position. So you get into the power position, drive, pull, and you wanna get the barbell as high as you possibly can before you turn it over. Here's the trick of this movement. The legs cannot the knees cannot rebend. Again, the knees cannot rebend. Once they lock out, they stay locked out. And that's important. One, because you need to get into that power position and drive with the legs so hard that the barbell can get some acceleration, and then you have to continue pulling. So the focus here is to continue pulling all the way to the top. If you rebend the knees, then it just becomes a regular power clean. That's not our focus here. This is a muscle clean. So now I want you to take a look at this video again, and I want you to look at the knees. Notice how they lock out and they stay locked out. You see it? So once they lock out, he just keeps pulling all the way to the top. So if you get too heavy on this movement, you're not going to make the lift. We're practicing with PVC, and for those of you that have a barbell, an empty barbell. So it shouldn't be difficult for you. One more time. Let's freeze him in that scarecrow position. See if I can get it.
Hey, Javi, I got a question. So on the muscle clean, do you hit power positions? Sometimes I get confused with that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look. Let me see if I can scrub through it. Right. Boom. That is power position.
Okay. Okay.
Right. Well, I need to push him a little more forward. It's probably more like right there. Yeah. So that is power position. Right. He pulls his shoulder. He's no longer hanging over the barbell. He pulls his shoulders back. He's gonna drive with the legs. He's gonna pull, pull, pull. He's pulling already prior to giving a full extension. Per textbook, you want to drive first and then pull. In reality, especially when the weight gets really heavy, they kind of occur. And for a muscle clean, this is kind of heavy. They kind of merge, right? The two kind of occur simultaneously. So let's see, yeah. Pulls all the way to the top, whips those elbows around. Ooh. Ooh. Bam, and that is it. So before we get into this, let's talk. Are there any questions? We're doing those 3 movements. And we're gonna stay with 4 sets of 3. It's lightweight, so it happens. So since it's lightweight, your focus here is just practicing, getting familiar with the movements, and not really worrying about what the weight is. One second. You know what I'm gonna make for this class? I'm gonna make this class a requirement that I can see you. So for those of you that are blanked out, how do I know you're actually paying attention and participate? Yeah, there we go. Okay, thank you. All right, cool. I just gotta see you. Okay. I gotta see the faces.
What?
No. Oh, hey.
Say I'm paying attention.
I'm paying attention.
What's up?
I miss you guys.
Oh, dang, I haven't seen you in a minute.
I miss you guys.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
We're paying attention.
Paid attention.
Cool. Nice. Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. Especially because you know how all classes are going online, so I'm taking a few classes online right now, so I can't go to campus. And I'm guilty of it too, right? That's why I see it. I mean, sometimes I'm like, oh, there's a TV. Oh, she's talking. Yeah, I'll get to it. So let's get into this. What's our first movement? We said it was, let's get into a tall clean.
I think non-show herself.
So,
Right.
It's gonna feel a little silly with the PVC, right? Because it's so light. So I want you to focus on getting into the scarecrow position. So here's the movement. So it's a clean grip for those of you that are fairly new to cleaning. Your clean grip with the snatch. Okay, so let's go back to Tuesday real quick. With the snatch, remember, non-negotiable, that barbell needs to be in that hip crevice. So depending upon how long your arms are, it will dictate that. For the clean, there's a little more give. You can play around with it. Some weightlifters get fairly wide because they have less range of motion. It also shortens the distance they have to, I guess what they really do is they want the barbell higher into the hips. They want to kind of make things more simple for them. I guess there's several reasons. We're gonna simplify it and say for the average lifter, unless you're very, you have your own particular style, you are a weightlifter, it's right here, just outside the shoulders, and it's about mid-thigh. Again, the longer your arms are, the lower that barbell is, probably the wider you need to be. So at a minimum, the barbell needs to be at the middle of your thigh. Some weightlifters, again, they get a little wider, so they want it to be slightly higher. We don't want it anything less than mid-thigh. I like mid-thigh. So that is my power position. So if I was here, and I bend my knees, it's here that I drive, pull, turn it over. All right? So go ahead, Sam, get on your feet. Oh, let me get, nah, we're fine. We don't really need to move around. Let's get started. So on your feet, show me your clean grip, or you find your clean grip. Should be about mid-thigh. So we're doing a tall clean, right? Over here, it's all upper body, no leg. All right, wait, what did I say something tall clean? Yeah, tall clean. So we're gonna pull. Oh, because it's PVC, it's a little, we're gonna switch that movement up a little. I want you to get into a scarecrow position first. So pull, here's that scarecrow position. Take a look. Yeah, we know it. For those of you that did the snatch, the difference is the grip, right? So my elbows are high and to the side as much as possible. Barbell, PVC is, if not touching me, very, very close to me. From here, I'll say that's your starting position. I'll say turn, you're gonna turn it over and write it down like so. So starting position, turn. Elbows around, write it down, reset. Starting position, turn. So it needs to be quick, it needs to be fast, it needs to be intentional. So get a few in on your own right now. I'll give you a couple seconds, get familiar with the movement, and then we'll do these together so I can take a look at you. Few more in. So again, we're mending this movement. A tall clean, remember, starts at the thigh. I think it looks too weird with PVC. So let's just take it to the scarecrow position. Take it from there. All right, so on your feet, here's your first set of 4. All right, so starting position in that scarecrow, your feet are flat. Elbows are high and to the side. Turn. There we go. All right. Reset. Starting position. Elbows high and to the side. Also, think about your shoulder blades, right? They should be retracting. They should be squeezed. Ready. Turn. Good, 27. Wow, there's 27 of you guys. That's great, cool. All right, reset. Starting position. Turn. Good. Okay, we're gonna get a little fancy on this one now. So eyes on me. We're gonna get you on your toes. We're gonna emulate that you've given a full triple extension. So take a look at my feet, because you guys already know how to use your elbows. You know, you're familiar with the scarecrow position. Look at my feet. On my toes now, I'm pretending that I've given a full triple extension. So let me show you what, if this was a true clean, this is the position that I would end up in, right? Take a look. Starting position. First pull, second, power, drive, pull. So I want you here now. That is your new starting position.
Wait, what?
Got that?
It's kind of hard to see, Javi. Are you on your toes?
Absolutely, yeah. Here, let me bring the sucker down. Can you see them now?
Oh, look at those, yeah.
All right, so here. So I'm in the scarecrow position right here.
Okay.
Did we get that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's your next set. All right, starting position. Show me scarecrow on the toes. Turn. All right, reset. Number 2. Starting position. Turn. Last one. Starting position. Turn. Good. All right, cool. Shake it off. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. We're gonna get back to it. It might feel silly, I know, especially for those of you that are really familiar with weightlifting or like heavy weight. But again, if you can't make a PVC look good, then you can't make weight look good. Any questions? Anything? Cool. You guys are doing good. All righty, next set. Set number 3. We're doing 4 sets. Same thing, on the toes, scarecrow. You turn it over. So ready. Starting position. Turn. All right, recover. Next one. Starting position. Turn. And your final one, starting position. Turn. And recover. All right, set that down. Some of you are using barbells. That's that's great. Again, keep it on the lighter end. So even if you start picking up a barbell, you want to make sure it looks good and you feel good before you even add 1 kilo on that. You want to earn every single kilo. Let me take a look at our next movement. So we'll do one more set of this and we'll make our way to clean from power position. This, we'll talk about the power position because I think a lot of us, especially when we're on the go, we gloss over that and we're not really securing ourselves into that position and giving every drop of the extension. So here we go, last set. On your feet. Grab your instrument, clean grip, starting position. Up, turn. Here we go. Starting position. Turn. Sweet. Last one, last one. Starting position. Turn. Good. Okay. Set that down. Let's talk about the clean from the power position. So same thing, clean grip, not the same thing in the sense of a clean grip. Your feet are flat. Your shoulders are in line with your hips in this position. So your knees are bent, chest is up, active midsection, and it's from here, let me see. From here, you're gonna drive, turn the barbell. Oh, you wanna get into that scarecrow position, right? Drive, turn over. You want the elbows to flip around and the feet to land at the same time. the more weight that's on the barbell, the more difficult that becomes, but it's the ideal timing we want, right? So here's what that looks like. Now remember us, well, let me show you the one that it should look like first. From here. So I'm just gonna drop straight down. Again, a little difficult with such light weight. So let's just get used to positions here. One more. So I'm focusing on getting into that scarecrow position before I attempt to turn it over. Here's what I do not want to see, and that's sending the hips back. If you send the hips back, it's no longer a power position. That's a hang. So it's not this. This is a hang. This is power position. This is the step prior to the power position. You see that? So from the ground up, right here, first pull, right here, and then you should end up here. So on your feet, give it a go. I'll give you a few seconds to kind of play around with it, become familiar with the movement, and then we'll practice. Keep them close, Charles. All right, cool. Make that your last one. So here we go. So your starting position is you in the power position. Straight down. Now I'll tell you go on this one. Go. We'll turn it over. Remember here, you're focusing on getting into that scarecrow position before you turn it over. So on your feet, find your clean grip. Starting position is from the power position. So bend, so you just drop straight down. Go. Good. Here's number 2. Starting position. Go. Final one. Starting position. Go. Great. Okay, set that down. Check it out. A quick note. So just like we were talking about with the snatch, remember your feet should, depending upon you as a weightlifter, I think the taller you are, the more your feet have to move out. So that way the hips have space to drop down into a full squat. The shorter you are, the less you have to move your feet out. So let's say this is your starting position. Your feet should be underneath your hips or slightly outside of your hips. The taller you are, the wider that probably needs to be. Very slightly though. So this is my feet. For me, for being 5'6", I have to only move my feet out about, when I turn the barbell over, about that much. It's not a whole lot. It's more like a little shift. You're taller, probably need to do like a full-on foot worth to open up. So I say that because when you turn the barbell over, whether it's a snatch or a clean, the feet need to move straight out. You should not be jumping forward and you should not be jumping backward. So on this next set, I want you to, if you have something, hey, just take a look at where you're at, get like a little mile marker on your feet and make sure that you're staying in place. The feet should only turn out. You should not be jumping forward and you should not be jumping backward. So here we go, your next set. Set number 2 here. All right, starting position. Go. Recover. There we go. Starting position. Go. Last one, starting position. Go. All right, good. You guys are looking good. Nice. So be aware of that, whether you're on a platform or whether you're in the middle of a WOD. Any questions? We have 2 more sets of this, and then we'll do our final movement. All right, last one. Oh, actually, no. Let's make this our last one. You guys are getting the point. You guys are looking good. Remember, the homework for you is it doesn't end here. You need to continue doing this. So come in a little early before your WOD, pick up a PVC, practice, or if you're at home, especially now that we've realized that you could pick up a literal broomstick and do it, absolutely, get the work in. So here we go, next one, last one. Starting position. Go. All right, number 2, starting position. Go. And last one. Starting position. Go. Sweet. All right. Set that down, check it out. Our last one is a muscle clean, So let's remember, what's the key here? I guess there's several keys. Barbell needs to stay close. You need to hit all your positions on the way up. Once the knees lock out, they stay locked out. So I think it's just more trying to get used to the idea of not rebending and trying to get under, right? Because it's not that the weight's heavy. We're all playing around with lightweight here. So let's see if you can watch me. I'll do like a slow-mo version of this. Here we go, it's a slow-mo version. All right, so start, clean grip, starting position. Like so, again. One more time. So knees lock out, they stay locked out. Once they lock out, I continue pulling with the arms. Pull, 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 scarecrow, turn it over. So get a few in and at that same tempo, slow-mo. Just become really familiar with the movement.
Hey, Javi,
Yeah.
your toes didn't come up, right?
No. They probably didn't because the weight's not heavy enough. But if I had a barbell with weight on it, I would absolutely get on the toes. But if you want to add that extra step in there and get on the toes, get it in. And remember that this barbell in your hands, it's going to skim the body the whole way up. Should never be a point where it's getting away from you. All right, let's go for our first set. I want to focus here with you guys. So down into your starting position. It's PVC, so let's or it's light. So let's keep it on the slower side. That way I can get a good eye on all of you. Ready, starting position. Down into your starting and go. Good, back down for rep number 2. Starting position and go. Good, all right. Last one, make sure we get into that power position. Ready, go. Ah, wonderful. Good. Andrea, go. Or did you just freeze? I think she froze. It looks like she's stuck in her starting position, and that would like kill your quads. It'd be torture. Okay, that looked good, right? So you got the PVC down. I wonder, adding a barbell, can you imagine how difficult it becomes to get into that scarecrow position, whether it's 35 or 45 pounds? Yeah, for those of you that have done it, you're familiar with the movement, you know it. Okay, here we go, your next set. Let's get this in. And when you're ready, go. You have three reps at your own pace. Good. Remember, get into that scarecrow position. Elbows should get really high before you turn it over. The knees lock out, they stay locked out. And let's just go into our next set. When you're ready, go into your next set. And we'll make this our last set. And then you can set your PVC down. I'm gonna unmute everyone. If you'd like to stay muted, then unmute yourself. All right, so everyone's unmuted. Thoughts? Remember, you can use these 3 movements at any time. Home, prior to the WOD, most especially on a day like where you're snatching or you feel that the bar's crash. I mean, you're cleaning and the bar's crashing on you. Especially now that you know that the barbell and the shoulders are supposed to smoothly transition together, merge. They're never supposed to crash. So on the next time you're doing a clean, I want you to pay attention to that. See where the barbell and your shoulders and how they're meeting. And if you feel that's an issue, then you have some movements now on how to practice.